And hear your story tonight. So please welcome Salma.
It's such an honor to be here, and I'm so thankful that I have this opportunity to tell my story and share my experiences with you all. Madre, you are my home. You are my first language. I carry your strength in my body. You have always stood up for me. I was 5 years old. Cristina, my sister, was 3. And we lived in a 10-story apartment building in White Center. It was 3 in the morning when my mom woke us up. Dressed in her work uniform, put our shoes on, and wrapped us both in the Hello Kitty blanket. Still half asleep, I remember being in her arms as she was holding us tightly, going down the elevator to get to her first job of the day. This was our routine every morning, but for some reason, this morning stuck out. It was the moment that I realized that my immigrant mother's life was full of struggle. A mother at 16, forced to drop out of high school to raise me. And now trying to provide for her 2 daughters by working 3 service jobs. My mother was 21 years old, 2 daughters, and 3 jobs. What I didn't realize at the time was that this struggle was a fight for me, for us, and for my livelihood, and for my future. Growing up, my mom would say, Salma, you need to go to school. I want you to finish school because that was something that I was never able to do. And I want you to, and I know you can be powerful, strong, independent, poderosa, fuerte, independiente. I watched her turn her struggle and hardship into power and resilience so that my sister and I could make it. She stood up for me always, and she showed me how to stand up for myself. All of my childhood, I accepted that the circumstances my immigrant family experienced was normal. I didn't know any different than my mother working multiple jobs to keep food on the table. And the excuse that I would give myself was, oh, the economy's bad. My dad was not able to afford health care or even go to the doctor because he is undocumented. Deportations in my community were common, and it was something that I had simply accepted. When I started at Federal Way High School, I was introduced to Fuerte. Fuerte makes some noise. Woo! A place where immigrant youth come together to fight for justice. I learned that Fuerte was a OneAmerica youth group based at the high school. At my first Fuerte meeting, I was able to share my story, my experiences of my family, and all the things that we've been through. And as I listened to my friends and those around me that shared their story, I realized the many parallels with other immigrant students who shared the same experiences, who felt the same things that I felt, and I knew that I wasn't in the struggle alone. I felt safe, understood, and I felt that I was becoming a part of something bigger than myself. I learned that I don't have to just sit here and accept the circumstances for myself or for my family, but there was something that could be and needed to be done. And I, together with my community, had the power to make that change. The people around me have always seen a leader in me, but I didn't see a leader in myself. But OneAmerica organizers and leaders like Maja, leader by leading with my story and my experiences, and I learned about justice by fighting for justice. Together with other Fuerte youth leaders, we did things like organize and lead marches for immigration reform. We would educate our community about the rights and the power that they have by leading Know Your Rights workshops in Federal Way, encouraging our parents and family members to attend. We knew what to do when I showed up at the door, but we wanted our family to know what to do when I showed up at the door. My passion was poured into fighting for immigrant rights. We coordinated phone banks and canvases to get our community civically engaged and elected. We traveled to Olympia to testify on the Washington State DREAM Act and the Voting Rights Act. And to talk to our representatives about passing legislation that improves our community. And I clearly remember in one of our meetings, Mark Malosha said, every minority group goes through some struggle. And now it's your turn.
Boo. Boo.
I was shook, appalled, but then I remember what I learned, that ultimately he is accountable to us.
That's right.
And we told him to his face that we were not going to accept that. And he represents our community. And if we're sitting in his office telling him what we need, he has to listen to us as his constituents.
That's right.
And after that encounter, we weren't really his favorite. But that is also why he's not in office anymore. I'm so proud to say today that Fuerte is standing strong, and that was the legacy that I left behind. But when Trump was elected, I felt like everything that I had worked so hard for, and all of our efforts and all of our hopes for justice had gone out of the window. I went through a phase, which I'm sure most of you have as well, of feeling so unmotivated and discouraged. But I knew that I couldn't just sit there and do nothing. Eventually, I had to do something about it. I looked around UW, and I couldn't find the community that I was looking for. I couldn't find anything that was fighting for justice the way I wanted to fight for justice, the way that OneAmerica taught me to fight for justice. And that's how we started Fuerte UW. It's not easy to organize students on campus, but my hope is that as immigrant youth, we can ground ourselves in the roots of our passion and build that upwards towards something much greater than us, towards a direct impact on our communities, and remain a part of a movement that goes way beyond the university. And that's what OneAmerica is all about, giving us the place and the tools to organize and be connected to others in this movement. My growth as a leader and my fight for justice is how I know that I'm living my mother's dream. To finish school, to be independent, and to have that power is all coming true for me. My mom showed me what standing up for people looks like because she always did that for me. She taught me how to fight, how to be strong. And now my mom sees that I am fighting for justice for others, and she sees how important that is for me. I hope and believe that she knows that this is my way of fighting for her too. Just as she did for me every morning when she woke up at 3 a.m., put on her work uniform, and went to her 3 jobs. The OneAmerica community is why I'm standing before you, sharing my story. If you believe in the power and the leadership instilled within me and the power of grassroots movements led by people like us, immigrants, people of color, I hope you consider deepening your support for OneAmerica in our struggle. May that be financially, through your leadership, or your presence in this movement, so that we can all make it out walking towards our liberation. Gracias.